Hello Virgo, and welcome to your in-depth forecast for October for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to start by giving you a brief overview of the big strands this month before going on to give you the much more detailed analysis, so please stay with me. We start this month with your ruling planet Mercury in retrograde, so that's particularly important to you, and it will be twisting backwards or appearing to twist backwards through to the 18th of the month. But this can see you grappling with financial issues and also with the foundation of your world. And this is emphasized because Mars, the planet of passion, is also in this sector along with the Sun, in a tight conjunction with the Sun through to the 18th of the month. So I think a lot of the focus for you at the start of October is going to be about your desires, but also about your base sense of security. And that can see you thinking about everyday finances or also about your sense of self-worth. Now, the other news this month is that we are going to see some retrogrades unraveling. So Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, and also Mercury all coming out of retrograde. So events should speed up for us all. But before I go into your detailed forecast, I would be grateful if you've yet to subscribe to my channel. If you did so now, please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to get your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, you can do so by clicking on the subscription link beneath this video. I write for Britain's most read daily newspaper, The Metro, so why not get your daily insight too? And finally, year 2022 is racing up. If you'd like to get your personal forecast for next year based on your time, date and place of birth, plus get the rest of this year free and a character analysis and get 30% off, you can do so by clicking the link beneath this video. Gain searing insights into how that 3 pieces of data can impact on your prospects, but also give you the insights to avoid some pitfalls. But back to the start of this month. So that joyous combination of the Sun and Mars together gives us a lot of sense of urgency. Now they're both in the sign of Libra, the subsequent sign to yours, which is governed by Venus, which is very much to do with diplomacy, but it's an air sign, so communication. So diplomacy, communication, relating around your resources, because for you, house 2 can be money, but it's also how you feel about yourself. So with your ruler twisting backwards, my sense is that if you feel that Mercury retrograde will bring you misfortune, then you're going to try to almost inadvertently create that reality. So do be very positive. Mercury retrograde gives us the chance to reprise, replan, repair. So see the ways in which you can improve the foundations of your world and use the urgency of Mars to make it happen. But it doesn't change the fact that Mercury is in a testing a right angle with Pluto in the first 5 days of this month. And it may be that something that you're wanting to splash out on early in the month, there could be some kind of glitch with it that's not entirely obvious, because the desire side of Mars could make you much more impulsive than is ordinarily the case with Virgos. You're usually very shrewd, very discriminating, analysing details and then acting accordingly. But Mars can make you more in need of satisfying your desires. So that tangle with Pluto just cautions you not to take risk with resources in week 1. But then ironically, Pluto ends its retrograde on day 6. And Pluto's in a terrific location for you. It's in your 5th house. It is very much to do with joy, expansion, sociability and romance, and it's been there since 2012. But of course Pluto can be a very complex influence. It can take things out of our lives as well as put things into them. But broadly, Pluto going forwards is going to be better for us all from here on this year. But also on the 6th we have the new moon. The Libra new moon is principally about finding that equilibrium, that balance but particularly around our relationships. So if you're in a relationship in a financial situation, whether it's with a lender, a credit card company, or even with your partner, you have different values, which the second house is about. You need to analyze how you can change this. And with the help of Mercury, that review the Mercury retrograde encourages you to do can help you to see different angles. But there is a little bit of a catch on this new moon, because Mars alongside the moon can be a bit volatile and particularly impetuous. And then over the other side of your situation in your 9th house of adventure and independence is the rather rebellious energies of Uranus. So Uranus is forging a quincunx or 150 angle to the new moon. So Uranus is saying, I will do what I want. I will be completely free to do what I wish, to buy what I want, to go where I want, whatever the consequences. Now that's not to say that you're going to do it, but that's what Uranus is pushing you to consider, to be really much more in the moment, and whereas you're usually quite tactical. And with Mars in the mix as well, that sort of turns up the passionometer. And of course Mercury retrograde, it may be you are waiting for some money to be repaid to you. There could be a cost that comes up that you're not expecting. And there may be part of you that just wants to escape it all with some full-on retail therapy. Totally understandable. If you can afford it, go for it. It will probably cheer you up enormously. But just don't do it to try to solve an emotional imperative. That's not so cool. But on the 7th, Venus, which has been in your sector of everyday relating since the start of the month, moves into your 4th house of the home and emotions. If you are looking to move into a new property or to decorate one that you're already in, or to engage with the outdoor space, this is wonderful timing. Also from the 10th through to the 16th, Venus forges a brilliant link to Saturn, the planet of structure, which is in your sector of precision, but it too has been going backwards for a long time. But on the 11th, that retrograde ends. I think we all agree Saturn going forwards is something we could all feel very happy about. So, but for you, it can be even more constructive. So your eye for detail and the way you can show great precision and meticulousness around the way you marshal things can come in very handy around the property, home, or even a family matter from the 10th through till the 16th. Now on the 18th, Mercury ends its retrograde. Yippee! Because for any sign that's governed by Mercury, so that's 2, you and Gemini, Mercury retrogrades can potentially have a greater impact upon you. Now, Mercury and Venus are often very near to the Sun in people's natal horoscopes. So if you have Mercury in Virgo as well, or it was retrograde when you were born, the Mercury retrogrades can have even more impact upon you. So the fact that Mercury's heading forwards suggests some money can come in that you've been waiting for, and that's something also to celebrate. But on the 18th too, Jupiter ends its 4-month backward journey. Now Jupiter began that in your sector of relating, but then went into a more practical area. So Saturn and Jupiter go forwards in your sector of health, diet, fitness, and life organisation. So if you really want to grapple with those areas, it will get easier from the middle of this month. Now week 3 of this month sees Pluto in a tense relationship with the Sun. Now I flagged earlier with Pluto going forwards, it still forged that difficult angle to Mercury, your ruler, causing some potential tension. So the Sun's angle to Pluto, the Sun in house 2, which is about those resources, about your sense of self-worth, about everyday money, clashing with Pluto in house 5, which is about risk, enjoyment, fun. I think the implication is quite clear. You could let the rather deep motivation of Pluto, the yearning that it creates, see you splash out on something you don't really need. And the potential for this is heightened even more because from the 17th through to the 26th, Mars is in a right angle in the sign of Libra with Pluto. Now, they're even more raw-edged around desire. So if there is someone, for example, that you really like, don't judge them on how much they earn, what their job is, what their status is. That's very important. But equally, if you're in an existing relationship and you and a partner see a potential investment differently, trying to be as patient as possible will really be helpful, because Venus is actually forging a quite tricky link to Neptune from the 23rd to the 29th. So kind of getting clarity might prove a bit elusive, and however much you feel that you're trying to be very diplomatic, caring, sensitive to the other person, it could still all get in a bit of a tangle. So some kind of issue around desire could cause a bit of a glitch towards the end of this month, but equally this could push you to reach out and connect with someone you fancied but haven't quite felt able to take that next step. So Mars and Pluto, particularly in a square, could see you just going for it and taking the risk. Whether it will work out or not, I couldn't personally say, because that would depend more on your personal horoscope rather than your zodiac forecast. But the desire to do something could be strong. Now on the 23rd also, not only does Venus go into a square with Neptune, the Sun moves into Scorpio. But this is something for you to really celebrate. It's followed by Mars on the 30th. This sees a speeding up of your situation, more sharing of information, more connection with neighbours, siblings, internet, technology. But it is true that the Sun tangles with Saturn from the 27th to the 31st. You could find yourself getting a bit of tension headaches then, maybe even a bit of a migraine. If you're someone who has quite a screen-led role and you're often online, a really opportune moment to actually try to cut down how much you're doing in the evenings. Go for a walk, a swim, do something completely contrasting to that heavy mental work, because the Sun's angle to Saturn can stretch and stress you somewhat. But the overall strands of this month are also underpinned by a semi-sextile between Jupiter and Pluto, which goes on all month. And that's saying to you, if you can be practical in the way that only a Virgo can, you often have very realistic approaches to situations, which I think is admirable. And Jupiter, despite being the planet of excess at times, I think in your 6th house, along with the initially retreating Saturn, are just saying to you, just deploy your usual tactics. Don't get caught up in things too much. And desires are going to run high for all of us this month, whether it's through the energy of Mars or through the energy of Pluto. So it's just, don't splash out on anything that doesn't have a practical application unless you can really afford it and it's really necessary. But I think your love life could run a bit hot and heavy at times this month. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Virgo. Please stay safe, take care, and goodbye.